Welcome back, Chess for Closers. Dave Sherman here. When I first started this stream, I mentioned a few of the things that I wanted to do, and one of them is get people hooked on endgame studies. I look at it as, yes, Magnus Carlsen and Kasparov and Bobby Fischer and these great players come up with great stuff, and we all appreciate it. My feeling is, if you really appreciate the good things in chess, in life, in chess, you just must be aware of what composers have come up with on the chessboard. It's closer to perfection than these other folks have come up with. It's just pure beauty, and these maybe the computer age has changed something. Maybe they can churn out these things like nothing. But to imagine that these folks were moving the pieces around without aid of computers, and I think on their own mostly. These folks weren't chess players, in tournaments. They spent most of their time composing at home. Anyway, for them to come up with this stuff is just so astonishing. And I remember when I was a kid, I knew I had to get some chess books. I was just starting out. The tournament was coming up. So I had to get an endgame book, and I had to get an opening book, and I got The Art of the Middle Game by Paul Carey. And I had to get an endgame book or two. And I ordered Alexis Troitsky's 365 Brilliant and Instructive Endgames. And I was expecting something like Basic Chess Endings by Reuben Fine, with rook and pawn versus rook and how to do the bishop at knight mate. And anyway, I got back a book with all these diagrams from 1921 and 1953 or something, weird positions that didn't look like any sort of endgame theory, and I ignored it. It wasn't for many years later, that I finally found out that these things aren't, mate in two or something, which I knew were pretty worthless in terms of, getting better. Anyway, so at my local chess club, Richard Pariseau showed us this position, and we went to town on it. Of course, it's always white to move, and white has a problem, and it is that black pawn on a3. It is 2 moves away from queening with check, and so there's a fire, and it's got to be put out. We're not going to spend, endgame studies can be just enjoyed by looking at the solutions. It's a lot of fun working at it. We worked all night at this, and of course he had to show it to us at the end. But I don't feel guilty about showing the solution here because there's a million others. Black is going to queen with check in 2 moves, and so something has to happen pretty quickly here. Now this bishop is going to be a part of it. Actually, of course, everything is right where it has to be. But if bishop f6, for instance, just a2 and nothing. So the first move is knight to c6, and now if a2, then you have the check winning. And so black has to take it. But this gives white time to get his bishop on the important diagonal. Very important. And black has 2 moves, of course. And the first move, to look at, if king c5 loses instantly to bishop e7 and taking the pawn on e3. So he has to play this move. I guess he could play here, but white could just take it, right? And he covers the a1 square, and at some point he gets that pawn moving and gets a queen. So no, he can't do that. Let's back that up. How do I back that up? Yeah. So king to d5, right? But still, in 2 moves, it's queen with check. Um, if you take here, black takes back. If you play c3, most people find this move. If you play c3, why not black? You just play a2. And the common idea, if we won't move the pieces here, if bishop takes d4, black queens, if white forgets that he's in check and thinks that maybe he has time for c4, opening the diagonal, well, no. First of all, he is in check. Second of all, black could just take the bishop, king takes d4. So c3 doesn't work. How about d3? Well, that can't work because it's a2. Well, you do have a check left. Okay, you have a check left, and it is true that if black takes en passant, white can take back with the bishop, and he's still winning. But of course, black doesn't have to take. He can get out of check. He can go attack the. Oh no, he can't do that because white takes. Okay, so he has to play here. But that's fine. And now when white checks, it's almost mate. Black only has one move. There's your clue. Black only has one move. So let's back it up. In this position, if you look 2 moves ahead and you think, well, black only has one move, how about king to b7? And now on queen, bishop e7 mate. I don't know why I wasn't allowed to make that into a queen. Anyway, this was the first endgame study that I was ever shown, and I think it's spectacular. I like to know what you think, but let me just say that I've seen hundreds of endgames since then, thousands, I guess. This ending is nice. It doesn't hold a candle to some of these studies that Kasparian and a bunch of other names. And now I've seen there's a book by the book Tactical Chess Endings by John Nunn. I think that has an ending section or study section. There is just an insane ending. That I know I have the book. I'd like to show it to you next time. Anyway, so this is my attempt to get you hooked on endgame studies. You won't want to stop playing in tournaments, but it is chess candy. It's very spectacular, and it's the closest thing to perfection on the chessboard that I can see. Carlsen's damn close. Anyway, okay, so, and I got some other things I want to do, but endgame studies was one of the important ones. So check me out. We'll have some more. See ya.